Good day, everyone. Welcome to our class. And today we will be discussing about the continuation of Chapter 1 for Policy and Strategy. Previously, we were able to discuss policy as a set of guidelines or rules that a company or organization puts in place to dictate decision-making and actions. It is important to business because it helps to ensure consistency and fairness in decision-making, provides direction for employees, and helps to mitigate risk. Policy can cover a wide range of topics such as workplace safety, ethics, data privacy, human resources, and many more. By having well-defined policies in place, businesses can improve operational efficiency, foster a positive workplace culture, and minimize legal liability. Ultimately, having effective policies in place can contribute to the overall success of a business. So now, as a continuation, we will be discussing the next topic, which is strategy. So now let's go ahead and define what strategy is. Now, strategy refers to a plan of action designed to achieve specific goal or set of goals. It is a process of defining objectives, identifying the most appropriate action and resources to achieve those objectives, and executing the plan to deliver desired outcomes. Now, the origin of the word strategy can be traced back to the ancient Greek words strategos, which literally means the general's art. These highlights the military connotation of strategy, as military leaders were often required to develop and execute effective plans to achieve victory in battle. However, the concept of strategy has since evolved to encompass a broader range of application in the fields such as business, politics, and sports, among others. Only in the years of 1950s and 1960 that strategy was applied by managers in business operations, even in academics. Being difficult field due to so many processes and activities within the organization, strategy has been defined in multiple ways. Management expert Henry Mansberg disputed that it is tough thing to get strategy right. He offers 5 definitions of strategy, which he called the 5 P's that are helpful in different situations. According to Mansberg, through understanding each P, the organization can enable itself to develop a robust business strategy that could maximize the full use of the organization's strengths and capabilities. These views include strategy as a plan, as a perspective, as a pattern, as a position, and lastly, as a ploy. So strategy can also be defined as a general direction set for the company and its state in the future. Strategy results from the detailed strategic planning process. Now, a company's strategy, it might be an overarching guide for decision-making and resource allocation that aligns the company's action and resources within its vision and mission. The strategy is developed through a strategic planning process, which involves analyzing the company's internal and external environment, determining its strengths and weaknesses, and setting goals and objectives that support the company's overall mission and vision. The strategy serves as the roadmap for the company's future, providing direction and focus to its efforts and enabling it to remain competitive and achieve success in the long term. Lastly, a strategy is all about integrating organizational activities, utilizing and allocating the scarce resources within the organization and environment so as to meet present objectives. So it is a comprehensive approach right away to decision making that considers all aspects of the organizational environment and seeks to optimize the use of resources in pursuit of specific objectives. A successful strategy must take into account both internal factors, such as the organizational strengths and weaknesses, and external factors such as market trends and competition. Now, in order to develop a cohesive plan for achieving success, ultimately, the goal of strategy is to provide a roadmap for the organization to follow in order to achieve its goals and stay ahead of the competition. Now, let's go ahead and define strategy as a Now, a plan is a kind of deliberately crafted course of action that serve as a guide in handling the situation to become successful. As a result of this definition, strategy as a plan possesses two fundamental characteristics. Strategy is prepared in advance of the actions to which it applies, and it is formulated intentionally and on purpose. A vital element of the organization's strategic plan is the business model. Now, business model explains the course of action that the company would follow to earn profit. Certainly, a feasible business model needs more revenues selling its products compared to the expenses in producing and distributing those goods. A significant feature of a business model is the manner in which the organization will be able to provide utmost satisfaction to customers. Now, strategy as a pattern. Strategy as a pattern centers on the extent to which an organization's stream of action over time are consistent. Using this definition, strategy is consistent with behavior, whether or not intentional. It is a strategy when Picasso painted blue for a time. The behavior of Ford Motor Company, owned by Henry Ford, offering his Model T only in black, was also a strategy. Decision with consistent pattern could be the result of explicit or written strategy. Visualized manner, for instance, creates decisions to advance more the organization's well-responsive customer support process. This pattern of action creates a strategic advancement even without purposely deceiving for it. Now, so you can see on this definition, the pattern of strategy, you have to make sure that you have to look at what is worked in the past and seek ways to continue even enhancing the pattern. So for this strategy, the market pattern are often unintentional, of course. And the key is to be able to identify such pattern and where's the beneficial incorporate and where they're beneficial, incorporate them into your strategy. So of course, a strategy as a position should also be viewed relative to environment. So for instance, company A is well-positioned to manufacture personalized product for a narrow but profitable segment of the market. Now, in contrast, company B might be well-positioned to manufacture homogeneous products for a big segment of the market. Through performing certain activities differently compared to its competitors, some companies are able to create position. For instance, Cebu Pacific is able to move ahead in the top business climate by continuing their strategy of unbundled fares and cutting off frills like in-flight food service, this company is able to sell tickets at a lower cost. As a result, Cebu Pacific is positioned as low-cost carrier or LCC. That's actually one of the example of LCC. And we got in demand to the price-sensitive Philippine market. So as we observed, Cebu Pacific, sometimes Cebu Pacific is cheaper compared to Philippine Airlines. They have actually using strategy as a pattern. Now, the concept of strategy as a pattern refers to approach to strategy formulation and implementation that focuses on recognizing repeating successful actions, behaviors, and approaches of organizations in similar situations. The idea is that there is often commonality in the successful strategies of organizations in similar situations, and that these common patterns can be identified and replicated. In this approach, strategy is not seen as one-off plan or unique solution, but rather as a series of interrelated actions that are repeated over time in response to changes in the environment. These actions or patterns become the building blocks of a company's overall strategy. Now, by understanding these patterns and how they relate to each other, an organization can develop a flexible and adaptive strategy that can be easily modified if circumstances change. Advocates of strategy as a pattern argue that this approach leads to a better strategy formulation implementation because it focuses on learning from the experiences of others and adapting to changing circumstances. It also encourages organizations to be more agile and responsive as they can quickly modify their strategies as needed. So overall, of course, strategy as a pattern provides a framework for understanding and designing successful strategies in a constantly changing business environment. So as what you can see on the figure that I shared with you, so this is actually how it looks like. Next, strategy as a ploy. Strategy as a ploy is explicit move intended to outsmart or deceive competitors. Most of the time, ploys engage creativity in order to become successful. Ploys may consist of plotting, disrupt, dissuade, discourage, or otherwise influence them as a part of the strategy. So there are times when a strategy is intentionally done to inflame a competitor's action. So I will be showing you a strategy ploy must be used in two folds. We have first is take competitive advantage through innovation, creativity, initiatives, etc. The second, the second approach is operational focus. This is actually to ensure product quality is retained. Now, there are, for example, a grocery chain might threaten to expand a store so that the competitor doesn't move into the same area, or a telecommunication company might buy up patents that a competitor could potentially use to launch for rival product. So by trying to think one step ahead of the competition, as you can see in this diagram or figure, no? So a company may be able to take control of its market segments for years to come because they are already ahead of the competitors. A company has to be cautious, of course, with strategic ploys, since they have the potential in diverting one's business from mastering. It would be a mistake to focus too much on competitors. A company may fail to produce quality products or services that it can sell to market in doing so. Now, making use of a strategy ploy or two is part of good business. However, make certain the focus remains on the company's own operation at the same time. no? So this is actually how it works. Now, a strategy as a ploy, of course, though it used deceptive tactics to mislead an opponent or gain an advantage situation, it can also refer use of deceptive and underhandled methods in business, in military or political contexts. So, politicians also uses this. Militaries uses this as well. Now, for example, a business may use a pricing strategy as a ploy to drive competitors out of the market or to create an illusion of scarcity in order to increase demand for its products. So in a military context, a commander may use a feint as a ploy to distract an enemy or mislead them about their true intention. Yeah? So while the use of ploys can be effective in achieving short-term goals, they can also have negative consequences such as eroding trust, damaging relationships, and creating long-term strategic disadvantages. It is important for organizations and individuals to weigh the potential benefits and risks of using ploys and to choose their strategy carefully. So though there are advantages and disadvantages, but this is actually work in order for you to stay ahead with the competition. Next is strategy as a perspective. So strategy could be also a perspective. Strategy as perspective refers to how managers construe the competitive situation around them. Since every person is distinctive, two different managers might see similar event, like for instance, a new and incoming competitor in the two different angles. Now, strategy as perspective refers to the understanding and approach to developing and implementing plans to achieve a specific goals or objectives. This perspective emphasizes the importance of considering all factors that may impact the success of a plan, including internal and external factors, anticipating and proactively addressing potential challenges. In the context of business, strategy as a perspective may evolve considering market trends, competitors' analysis, and other factors to determine the best path forward for an organization. It is a holistic and forward-thinking approach that seeks to align all aspects of the organization with its goals and ensure that resources are utilized effectively to achieve them. So for example, a company that wants to expand its business into a new market. From a strategy as a perspective, the company would take a holistic approach. Okay, bago pa lang man siya. No, he's still new to the market or new to that particular location. So first, of course, in order for that company to succeed in its goals in expanding his business into the new market, first the company would analyze first the market to determine if it is valuable opportunity. So this could include researching the target market size, growth potential, and customers' needs. Of course, these three are really important in tracking or researching if that particular market is really viable. The company would also assess the competition to see what other businesses operating in the market and what their strengths and weaknesses. So this is how we come up with competition analysis. Second thing that the company who wants to expand their business into the new market do is evaluates its internal resources, capabilities to determine if it has the necessary assets to successfully enter the market. This could include evaluating its financial resources, human capital, and technology. So of course, if you are going to expand your businesses into the new market or location, of course, you have to consider these things: your financial capacity, your resources, of course, the technology that you will be using in order for you to achieve your goals in that certain area. Now, finally, the company would develop a comprehensive plan that considers all these factors and lays out a clear path forward. This plan would take into account potential challenges and opportunities and outline specific strategies for addressing them. For example, the plan might include strategies for building brand awareness, establishing partnerships with local businesses, and investing in technology to support its expansion. Overall, the strategy as perspective approach emphasizes the importance of considering all factors that can impact the success of a plan and proactively addressing potential challenges and opportunities. By taking this approach, the company can increase the likelihood of success in its expansion into the new market. Now, strategy is really crucial aspect of success in both personal and professional. It involves planning and decision making to achieve desired goals and outcomes. Now, there are various types of strategies that can be employed in different situations, including intended strategy, deliberate strategy, emergent strategy, and real-life strategy, to name a few. Now, understanding and utilizing the appropriate type of strategy can greatly increase the chances of success and help individuals and organizations reach their full potential. Let's go ahead and discuss the first strategy, the intended strategy. An intended strategy is nothing but a deliberate course of action reflected to the most appropriate for accomplishing preset corporate goals. It is the approach that an organization looks forward to implement. Usually, the strategic plan describes comprehensively the intended strategies. When a strategic plan is formed for a new enterprise, it is called a business plan. That's what we discussed. This will be the business plan will be discussed, of course, in your third year. But for now, we will not deal with that. But therefore, business plan is an intended strategy since it is the draft of the strategy that the organization proposes so that it will be on the right track. So the business plan might be a way for you to be able to know what are the factors that you need to consider if you're going to expand your business into the new market or whatnot. Okay? Now, basically, this strategy is conceived by the top management. Intended strategy is the outcome of a process of negotiation, bargaining, and compromise that consists of numerous individuals and groups inside the organization. The fundamental notion of this strategy is that it is predetermined character and is given a right form after lots of brainstorming. A strategy also finds out the necessary steadiness in behavior and approach of a particular company towards the economy as a whole and the market in which functions exactly. Now, intended strategy, as we discussed earlier, this is a plan the company or organization has for achieving its goals and objectives. So let me go ahead and give you an example. A clothing retailer has the goal of becoming the leading fashion brand for the millennial market. Their intended strategy is to offer a wide range of trendy, high quality clothing at affordable prices, and to target their market marketing efforts towards the millennial demographic through social media and influencer partnership. Now, the retailer plans to differentiate itself from its competitors by offering a personalized shopping experience both in store and online with the help of advanced technology and data analysis. So in this example, the intended strategy consists of several key components. Offering a product that appeals to the target demographic. Second is pricing the product competitively. These are the things that they need to do. Marketing the product effectively to the target audience. And differentiating the retailers from its competitors through a personalized shopping experience. Now, by implementing this intended strategy, the retailer hopes to achieve its goal of becoming the leading fashion brand for the millennial market. Of course, it's important to note that even with a well thought out intended strategy, a company may face challenges and obstacles along the way. Okay. So let me take a little bit on this one. So next type of strategy is deliberate strategy. This entails the management detailing the action the company must be doing to realize definite goals. This top-down approach typically engages some sort of planning and alternatives that are prepared in reference to some forecast of what may turn out in the upcoming years. Now, businesses with long years of trading generally have enough knowledge of their market to craft such 5-year strategic plans. The deliberate strategy is analytical and structured with vision statement, mission statement, strengths and weaknesses, SWOT, and the objectives, and so on. Now, here are the examples, or let me give you an example. A company wants to increase its market share in specific industry. It does a thorough market analysis and identifies key trends, customer needs, and competitors, strengths and weaknesses. Based on this analysis, the company developed a deliberate strategy to improve based on the analysis made by the company develops a deliberate strategy to first improve the product offerings by adding new features and benefits that meet customer needs. Second is differentiate itself from competitors by emphasizing its unique brand and reputation. Third is invest in research and development to stay ahead of the competition and maintain its competitive goals or edge. And lastly, establish partnerships and collaboration with complementary companies to increase its reach and offer more value to customers. Now, the company then implement the strategy by allocating resources, setting clear goals and metrics, and regularly monitoring its progress. Now, in summary, deliberate strategy is a comprehensive, structured approach to achieving specific goals or objectives, which is based on a thorough analysis of internal and external factors and is implemented through careful planning and execution. Next strategy is emergent strategies. This is the third one. An emergent strategy is an unplanned strategy that arises in response to the various unexpected threats, opportunities, and challenges. Emergent strategies are by nature dynamic. These strategies may result in either success or disaster, based on the effectiveness of the strategy. In contrast to deliberate strategy, emergent strategy is about learning what works in reality. Emergent strategy takes place in the absence of a plan to execute by management. So in its place, the company develops its behavior in reaction to changes in the market environment. In the chaotic business environment, emergent strategy is very much adaptive since it permits managers to take action to a surfacing reality instead of focusing on an established fantasy. The prime challenge for executing emergent strategy is that there may be modest change or chance for management to implement control. Emergent strategy describes the constant development of corporate strategy of an organization to keep pace with and to overtake the external environment to accomplish the preset targets. The emergent strategy, though it is not concept of one individual or a group of individuals at the helm of affairs of an organization, it is not also a spark of individual brightness to drive. It is actually a learning process where the whole corporate body understands facts and figures coming from external environment and assesses the changes in external and internal environment. Then later on, continue to devise the right applicable answer in the structure of an improved strategy. Let's say, for example, a company may have a general goal of increasing the market share, but as a different departments and teams within the company pursue that goal, they may identify new opportunities or encounter unexpected challenges. The company's strategy may then evolve and change as they respond to these developments, leading to new and unexpected outcomes. So this approach contrasts with more traditional top-down strategies, where a single leader or a small group determines the strategy first, and then the rest of the organization is expected to follow it. In an emergent strategy, the strategy evolves through the collective actions and interactive of individuals and teams within the organization. Advocates of emergent strategy argue that it allows organization to be more flexible and adaptable to changing conditions as well as to take advantage of unexpected opportunities. However, it can also lead to confusion and a lack of focus if not properly managed. So that's the disadvantage. If it is not properly managed, then definitely there might be confusions inside the organization. The last one is realized strategy. A realized strategy is the strategy that an organization actually follows. Realized strategies are a product of our organization's intended strategy or what the organization is designed to do. The organization's deliberate strategy or parts of the intended strategy the organization continues to practice over time. And its emergent strategy or what the organization did in response to an unanticipated opportunities and challenges. In majority cases, though firms' original and intended strategies were lost during its fight, the DOM section of the original intended strategy are called non-realized strategy. So David McConnell was a hopeful and struggling author finding ways to sell his books. He decided to present giveaway perfume with his books. McConnell's books never experienced success. Nevertheless, his perfume happened to be so admired. And then he established his own firm, which he named the McConnell California Perfume Company. That later was branded as Avon. For McConnell, a non-realized strategy to become a successful writer never became a reality. Although through Avon, a very victorious realized strategy developed. So, hindi siya nag-succeed sa kanyang goal as a writer, but he actually succeeded sa goal niya to, you know, to sell his perfumes instead. So he is the CEO, the president of Avon Company, a direct selling company. A realized strategy is an approach to accomplishing a specific goal or objective that has actually been implemented, put into action. For example, another example, consider a retailer company that wants to increase sales. The companies realize promotions and discounts to customers and improving their online presence through a new commerce website and more active social media presence. These initiatives have been planned, budgeted for, and executed. The company is now seeing the result of these efforts, such as increased website traffic, higher sales, and positive customer feedback. This realization of the strategy not only helped the companies to achieve its goal to increase sales, but it also provides valuable information and insight that can be used to continually improve and refine the strategy in the future. By regularly evaluating the result of their realized strategy, the company can identify what is working well and what needs to be changed, allowing them to stay ahead of the competition and achieve even greater success. Now, in conclusion, strategy is really crucial aspect of success in any field of endeavor. It involves making informed decisions about the allocation of resources and the direction of an organization or an individual's effort. A well thought out strategy takes into account the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that an entity faces, and outlines a plan for achieving its goals and objectives. Effective strategy requires continuous evaluation and adaptation to changing circumstances, as well as a clear and effective communication with all stakeholders. Ultimately, the success of a business or strategy depends on the ability to execute effectively with discipline and determination. So that would be all to the discussion for today about the strategy. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have questions and clarification, you may write down your questions on the comment below, or you can ask me through message. Thank you so much and have a wonderful